Welcome and thank you everyone for joining. Great to see you all today for our webinar on how to co-create your own SAP extension powered by SAP Cloud Platform. In our previous webinars, we've focused on the different extensions we already have available in our Flexso portfolio, but today we want to focus on the new extensions. Because I can feel you have great ideas for some of the next extensions and are ready to get started. Today's webinar will hopefully provide more insight in how SAP Cloud Platform is able to help deal with some of the challenges we face in creating enterprise-grade applications, as well as how we as Flexso approach the creation of new extensions. I am Nico, and I'll be your host of today. I've been working at Flexso for 7 years now, and always been interested in innovation. For the last few years, I've been able to focus more and more on the extensions on SAP, both on-prem and in the cloud. Working as a solution architect, I like to identify reusable components and now even reusable applications together with business. Why? Because I really believe that a lot more customers will achieve added value in their day-to-day businesses when combining SAP Business Core with developer efficiency. Some housekeeping rules. This session will be recorded, and if you have any questions, please use the Q&A feature, which we can then use to easily pick up your questions at the end of the session. As you can see, today we conclude our Flexso Extension Series, in which we covered a lot of Flexso extensions on top of SAP across line of businesses. It has been great to share these with you, and I hope that you've been able to pick up some of the webinars. And if not, and you see some that might be interesting to you, we're always happy to connect. So time to dive in and talk about creating new extensions together. On our agenda today, why are we here? What is the context? I'll also dive into the cloud platform a bit, show you an example of an architecture, talk about the Flexso approach when building extensions, and of course, finally have a wrap up with a summary. But let's start with why we are here. This image is probably not new to most of you because we've also used this a lot in the other webinars. This is the bi-model IT strategy. In mode 1, we have our digital core based on industry best practices offered by SAP. And we noticed that customers are more and more ready to enhance the core, differentiate themselves, and empower their core businesses. And that is where mode 2 comes in, powered by SAP Cloud Platform, your innovation platform. Does it mean that we want to corrupt the core with and create certain uncertainties when looking at upgrades in the future? Not at all. SAP's strategy is to keep the core clean, which means, of course, that we want to keep the core as standard as possible. And because of this strategy, SAP is offering the cloud platform to help extend their core using best practices, allowing you to keep the core clean. Lately, I've been hearing this more often, which means that companies are starting to adopt this principle, which is great and will allow for better agility in the future. So what can we accomplish with keeping the core clean, you might ask? Well, a lot. We've seen this in the past weeks and webinars, and here you see an overview of the extensions that we've already built so far. And these have been built with a side-by-side principle fashion. Keeping the core clean. So these are some of the extensions so far, and for the SuccessFactors extensions, I had to put them on a different slide altogether because they have been quite busy. Now, let's take a step back because we've already been talking about awesome extensions, but we still need to build them. And we all know that this raises some challenges. And we see that our landscape is getting more and more complex every day, that more and more options are provided to us on the market. So different platforms, different software, different services altogether, and that our teams need a lot of necessary knowledge to develop enterprise-grade applications. What I'd like to highlight today is how the challenges can be met by combining both platform and technology and a right approach. And both will be explained as we talk about the SAP Cloud Platform, our innovation platform at first, and then afterwards the Flexso Approach. So let's first start with the platform and technology part, so the cloud platform. I've split this up into 3 parts just to provide some structure. I'll explain in short the cloud platform itself and why we need it. Then I'll go through some of the most common services that we use when creating extensions. And finally, I'll showcase some of the things that SAP does to empower development efficiency. Let's start with the platform. The SAP Cloud Platform is an integration and application development platform that is critical to your intelligent enterprise. It provides agility, flexibility, and intelligence necessary for a business-focused innovation. It focuses on 3 main parts. The first 2 are integrate and extend. So integrate, where we integrate the applications, both cloud and on-prem, to ensure that your business processes work seamlessly and securely. And extend, we want to extend our enterprise applications and quickly add new functionality to meet the needs of the business. But not only do we extend and integrate, we also innovate. So the cloud platform helps you quickly build innovative applications by adding cutting-edge technologies like machine learning, etc., in your application. But why would we need a platform like Cloud Platform? When we look at some of the topics that need to be considered when building an intelligent enterprise and developing enterprise-ready applications, we see a lot of complexity needs to be handled. Going from infrastructure and DevOps to a right user experience, what infrastructure will you use? What about release management or version management of your applications? How will we connect the different systems and provide a better user experience with single sign-on? Or even more general, can we provide a good user experience across the applications? Instead of having to handle this all yourselves, SAP Cloud Platform offers the necessary services and tools to manage this more easily. And this allows you to focus more on your business, which is great, because not only is it your core business, but it also gives you more time to innovate. Next up, we have the most common services that help build the enterprise-ready applications and extensions on Cloud Platform. So Cloud Platform consists of some core services that are critical for creating extensions, and also like a portal service, application runtime, connectivity services, CPI. But also a lot of innovation services like RPA, conversational AI, machine learning, IoT, etc. And these are buzzwords that you hear a lot, but are just some of the services available in Cloud Platform. Let's have a look at some of these services and what they bring to the table. First up, we have the portal service. We want to have a central point of entry on which employees or customers can log in and start, preferably in a role-based manner, so everyone is seeing only what they need or can use. This is what the Cloud Portal service does, allowing you to build custom sites or Fiori Launchpad to provide such a central point of entry. And a lot of features and tools are provided, which makes it very easy for you to create such a site and Launchpad. So we now have the service for a central point of entry, and that's important, but we also need another component, applications in that portal. To run and manage applications, the application runtime service is used. And this offers the runtime for a lot of different languages. This is what we call bring your own language. We no longer need to consider what technology or language is supported by the runtime. Instead, we can choose the technology language based on our actual use case. So what is best fit for the application that we are trying to make? Is it Node.js? Is it Python? Is it something else? Also, we can make a choice based on the knowledge of the team that we are working with. What is the knowledge of the employees currently in your team? So these are some criteria that you can use. But probably some others as well. Basically, we no longer have to decide to use one technology at the start and then just for years to come use the same. No, we just at every case check what is the best for this scenario and then implement it. The freedom is yours. Next up, so we have our application now, but we have no data. And often the data is coming from SAP core systems, be it on-premise or in the cloud, or we connect a third-party API or a system in the application as well. And that's all fine. Thanks to the connectivity services on Cloud Platform, we are able to connect to all of those in a secure way. And not only connect with, but also provide the possibility to set up a single sign-on, enhancing the user experience of your employees or customers even further. So now that we've seen some of the most common services, what does SAP offer to empower the development efficiency? Because that's also important. Because having a lot of services is one thing, but you still need to be able to create the enterprise-ready applications that leverage the services. For this, SAP worked out the Cloud Application Programming Model, which is a framework of the most common and proven languages, libraries, and tools for building those enterprise-grade services and applications. It guides the developers along a golden path of best practices and out of the box solutions for recurring tasks. For an example, you can use the SDK to provide an out-of-the-box virtual data model in your application. You no longer need to develop, let's say, a model for business partner containing properties X, Y, and Z, because the SDK already has this covered for you. And also, did you know that you can build front-end applications without having to write any line of front-end code, just purely using annotations from your service layer? And the service layer is built using using the core data services, the CDS, that makes the universal modeling language across the different layers. And yeah, do note that while the cloud application model offers guidance to the developers, it does not lock in the choice of tools or technologies for your application. It remains open and flexible so that if you want or need it, you can choose a different technology. For instance, you could use Vue.js as a front-end technology instead of SAP UI5, for instance. One of the proven and most common technologies available in the cloud application programming model is SAP Fiori. Why? Because it offers a consistent and responsive UI that is built on top of design principles that leverage the almost 50 years of SAP business experience. And even better, you've heard me mention that we can build applications without writing any front-end code. Well, Fiori Elements is a technology behind it. Without having to write any, one single line of code of UI5, we are able to create an application like the one you see here in the screen. And this is all generated for you, saving time and also having less error-prone code base to maintain. Fiori Elements is based on some templates that SAP provides for some of the most common types of applications. So for instance, the list report, as you can see here, is a very common floor plan that SAP provides. Working with Fiori Elements and the way it is generated for you based on the annotations, this is called the metadata-driven development. Of course, not all applications should and can be built using the Fiori Elements, since it is based on a handful of templates that are available. So you need to consider how much fit you have with the templates offered. Extending the generated application is possible, but to a certain extent. Is this an issue? Of course not, because where Fiori Elements might not be the best fit, the UI5 developers can take over and create awesome custom Fiori applications from scratch. And this is what we call the freestyle SAP Fiori development, like you see here in the screen, compared with Fiori elements. How do we build such applications? We use the business. We are able to use the Business Application Studio, which is a service that SAP provides on the cloud platform. And this is a cloud-based development environment that offers a lot of wizard features to make developments even more easy and smooth. This is the big brother of the Web IDE that we already know from before. To conclude our developer efficiency topic, I'd like to highlight our Cloud Platform Foundation accelerator as well. Although SAP Cloud Platform offers a lot to help build enterprise-ready applications, setting up and starting to work with the platform can be or seem daunting. To help you utilize the platform as fast as possible, we've created an accelerator that helps you deploy your first applications in a matter of days. And with this accelerator, we help you set up Cloud Foundry, connect your systems, set up the single sign-on, all according to SAP best practices. And not only when you are just starting using the platform, but also when you have an existing platform and are interested in a review of the current setup. So time for some architecture. And to show this architecture, I'd like to just visualize an extension and see how this would look like from an architectural point of view. And for this, I've chosen the CV matching extension we built, which is an extension on top of SuccessFactors, in which we collaborated with TechWolf. TechWolf provided us with a skill engine, which is a machine learning engine specifically trained to match resumes to potential candidates. And thanks to the cloud platform, we were then able to combine the core in SuccessFactors, containing all data, and the intelligent engine of TechWolf to create the CV matching extension. Now let's have a look how the architecture could look like. Starting at the left corner, we enter our solution via the central point of entry using the portal service. On this portal, we can find the CV matching application as a tile. And this tile can be a UI5 application hosted on your cloud platform, or it can also be available via a subscription. In this case, the application is retrieving data from the SAP SuccessFactors system, which is securely connected using the connectivity and destination services. Also, the connection to the TechWolf engine is done via these two services. And this is just an example of what it could look like. And we've only seen a few core services, but know that Cloud Platform offers a lot of additional services, a lot more. And let's face it, almost all your use cases can be handled with Cloud Platform. As mentioned at the start, we like to think that not only platform and technology supports you, but also having the right approach. So let's talk about the Flexso approach. For this approach, we need, of course, a starting point. And this is where the requirements come in. We match those requirements with the available packages and the accelerators that we have. And based on that, we make a fit gap analysis. All that together leads to knowing what extension approach best fits your scenario. And why do we need such a starting point and knowing what extension approach to take? Well, there are multiple possible deployment options. This is based on, do we already have software as a service, which is the ePaaS, allowing you to subscribe and start using the application? Or do we already have building blocks that we can reuse in your extension? Or is it the case that it's a completely new ID and completely new extension that we need to start building from scratch? Those are all parameters that matter. But for this webinar, we want to focus on the latter. We want to focus on from building one from scratch, a new extension, because that's our focus for today. How do we approach this? It's a step-by-step approach where we start with your business needs, and then we want to learn as much as possible. So what are your pains? What are your needs, etc. And to do this, we can do this during the design thinking sessions. So at Flexso, we believe that this is very important to make the best applications, because then we understand what you want. And a lot of tools help us in understanding your scenario. And very important is the key user input. It's critical during this phase. Then next up, we have the mockup. My colleague Brecht created a little movie to showcase how even lo-fi mockups help understand the scenario in combination, of course, with iteration. And it helps us communicate with each other because we are speaking the same language. And that's very important when creating applications. So we now know what your pains are and needs and understand your requirements. And we are both talking the same language because we have some mockups. Now we can propose a solution. So now we can see what will be needed to create the extension. At this phase, we can also identify possible reusable extensions. In case reuse is an option, we at Flexso are willing to co-invest in the extension you want to make, making your extension in the first place together, and afterwards building on top and fine-tuning the solution to also help other customers who face the same needs and pains. Agile development is, of course, what we do. With a typical Scrum methodology, we implement the solutions having a continuous feedback cycle with the business, with the key users, making sure that we are building the right things. And the amount of meetings, demos, etc. This is not a template that we use. It's just based on common sense and the size of the team and the project, of course. So very agile. Then once we have our application developed and we are, and tested and it's ready, we can go for a launch. So finally it's launch time, and let's send that car into space, because that's what we all want. Now, once we have a launch, we at Flexso believe that in an end-to-end partner, which means that our managed services are available to help you with the support after go live as well. So not only until go live, but also afterwards. So with all that, it's time to wrap up. So we've started off with the bi-model IT strategy of SAP, which is a strong business core on one hand and a business innovation platform on the other. When we want to extend the core and allow business to flourish, we encounter a lot of complexity for the IT department. And we'd like to support this and allow business and IT to focus on what matters. And we believe that with the right platform and technology and the right approach, this can help. As platform and technology, we have the Cloud Platform that offers a lot of services, both core and innovation services, to help build the enterprise-grade applications and basically build your intelligent enterprise. As approach, we've seen that Flexso believes in a step-by-step approach, starting from an idea to launching your extensions and supporting you all the way. And I might even dare to say, take you on an end-to-end experience, which sounds nice, right? The foundation for this is design thinking, iteration, the drive for innovation, and a dedicated team to finally help you launch your extension of tomorrow. So why wait? Let's do this and help build the next step. So I'd like to thank you all for joining. We will be going into Q&A. to answer some of your questions. If there are questions unanswered, or you just have additional questions, or you want to connect, then please contact us. I don't know if there's any questions. So one of the questions is, how do you know which services you need for a specific application? So how do you know which services you need for a specific application? Okay, as I've said, there are some of the core services that you would need. These are almost in every extension, but yeah, case by case, we need to look at what services are needed because there are a lot out there. But we can do this together with you when we know what application you want, and then we can see what is necessary and also check, of course, with SAP. I don't know if there is any other question. So is Fiori something working in SAP Cloud, or is it separated? So Fiori on itself is the design principle, which is not the technology, but it's yeah, the design principle. UI5 is a technology, and it can run in SAP Cloud, but it can also run on-premise. So UI5 is a technology that you could install both on-prem and in the cloud. So it's not specifically to SAP Cloud, but it is available there. Another question, we are currently using Neo. Wait. We are currently using Neo. Do we need to migrate to Cloud Foundry? So when you are currently in Neo, it's not necessary to just migrate altogether now from today on tomorrow. There is no need because currently it is still being supported by SAP. But we all know that SAP is doing their newest innovations, their newest services, all on Cloud Foundry. Also, when you create new applications, it's possible to just start using Cloud Foundry and not. It's possible to start on Cloud Foundry in parallel to your current setup in Neo, and just start step by step doing new implementations on Cloud Foundry, leveraging the newest and the latest, and then afterwards start step by step migrations maybe of your most common used applications. Because at one point it will have to happen, but currently there is no need to. Any other questions? How do you connect to ECC or S4? So we can do this, so an on-premise connection via the Cloud Connector. So these are the connectivity services that you can use. These can connect to the on-premise system in a secure way, which is best practice and offered by SAP. So it's very easy and you don't need to consider a lot. And apparently we have a question for you now. Do you already have an SAP Cloud Platform license? Apparently, most people have. Some don't. And some have no idea. So that's also always a great answer. But yeah, most seem to have a license, yeah. Is there any other question? Another question we have is, do you already have some SAP, some Cloud Platform extensions running in your company? It seems that it's, they're all equal. So, but yeah, most don't. But yeah, it's a bit mixed. And another question, do you already have ideas for creating extensions on top of your SAP products? And if so, what kind? Very difficult question. Some people are having ideas, which is great. Do we see the answers or? So based on the answers that you gave there, we will contact you and see what we can do, maybe with the ideas together, and who knows, create the next extension together. I don't know if there's any other questions. No? So if there is no other question, then I'd like to wrap up for today and thank you all for joining. And it has been great doing these Flexso Extensibility series. And I hope that we keep in contact and are able to do a lot of things together in the future. So thank you all for joining and have a great day.